So it's not as if you can do anything you want, get away with it. In fact, I would say that some of the, most near-death experiences are very pleasant, 95% plus, but there are about 5% of them they're distinctively kind of unpleasant and kind of foreboding, hellish NDEs as they're called. And I think the majority of those are simply from people who were so busy handing out pain and suffering to other people that when they had to experience that on the receiving end during their life review, it was not very pleasant. Because a life review, interestingly enough, when you review big series of these things, for one thing, it's like a reliving of events, not just a remembering. And more than 75% of people describe it as reliving events from the perspective of other people around you who were influenced by your thoughts and actions. And so the big, hard lesson from NDEs, as much as it's all about comfort and love when we get to that stage in our spiritual journey, it's very important to point out that if you've been busy hurting other people and being greedy and selfish, you're going to experience that on the other end, in a very unpleasant fashion when you leave this world. So the biggest lesson of NDEs is not what happens when we die, but how do we best prepare ourselves for that part of our journey. And the best way is to show loving kindness, compassion, mercy, acceptance, when necessary, forgiveness for all of our fellow beings. That's the most profound lesson that comes from near-death experiences. It's pretty much universal among near-death experiencers. There's no doubt about it. We are here to take care of each other, and if you hurt another, you're really hurting yourself.
That's so true. And I spoke to Caroline Mace, who's a spiritual teacher, a while ago on this podcast. And she was telling me a bit about someone that she worked with who had had a near-death experience and had a life review, which I just find so fascinating. And the story stood out to me because she said this man was showing things in his life that weren't significant to him. So, for example, when he was young, he was 6 or 7, he stole some lollies at a convenience store, something that he didn't think twice about, but at the time the man had so many people steal from him that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. And basically the man ended up shutting up his store. He was so upset with humanity because he just had people steal from him. And in this life review, he was shown that's the consequences of his actions. And also in return, there was one day where he helped out an elderly lady, again, not thinking twice about it, but really doing something good. And the effect of that lady was so huge on this man showing her a good deed that it changed her life forever. So I think what you say is so pertinent because sometimes we think, we have to do all these bold things, we're good and everyone needs to see, or maybe being rude to someone, the barista or whoever it is, it's not a big deal. And we were angry that day. But from what you're telling me and what I've heard, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. And we're coming onto this earth to show love and compassion. We're always being watched. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
Well, I would say that it's all there. I mean, when we go through life reviews, like I said, almost half of people who describe life reviews talk about how it's a reliving of events. You revisit the events. It's not just a remembering. These are not vague memories, but it's showing us the kind of power of the spiritual nature of the universe and how, no, we never get away with kind of mistreating others or even mistreating ourselves.